Hello everyone, my name is Christopher Liam Rose. I'm an author, mentor, life coach, motivational speaker, evangelist, musician, and activist. In My Life is Like a Story podcast, we're going to be sharing spiritual life lessons and storytelling from my life experiences. We're sharing My Life is Like a Story podcast to inspire humanity to learn about Jesus Christ, your heavenly brother. I've been sharing My Life is Like a Story podcast to inspire humanity to learn about faith, spirituality, faith, and religion. And I've been sharing My Life is Like a Story podcast to inspire humanity to learn about the life lessons I've learned on my journey as a spiritual person, a faithful person, and a truthful person, and just tell my life experiences through sharing my life is like a story. So, in this podcast episode, we're going to be talking about homelessness and what happened to me when I was younger, how I experienced homelessness. So basically, I've always had mental health conditions of schizophrenia, psychosis, and depression since I was 15 years old. I've always suffered with mental health difficulties and challenges within my life. My past is a very negative past, abusive in my past, childhood past trauma, gang violence, crime, drugs, women, crime, theft, robbery, murders, killings. There's so much things that happened in my past that, nearly destroyed me and nearly, ruined my whole life. Due to my past life experiences, that brought mental health difficulties and mental health challenges. I saw friends pass away. I saw family members pass away. I saw close people I was close with pass away. I saw people who were living a very negative lifestyle, going through prison, going through crime, going through drugs and women and jewelry and cars and just that whole gangster lifestyle, which really upset me and really affected my mental health and well-being. Then I experienced some abuse when in my childhood. I experienced negative life experiences that nearly destroyed me. And then from 15 up until 24, I experienced severe mental health difficulties, going in and out of hospital wards in Springfield, being sectioned, living a very negative lifestyle with my mental health conditions and diagnoses of schizophrenia, psychosis, and depression. But then my life took a drastic turn in the 30th of September 2014. I was living in my flat in Battersea in my accommodation, flat 24 Warden House, and basically I was burning some candles in my living room, which were also near to the bed as well, and the duvet. And the candles fell onto the duvet and the bed, and then that started a fire within my property. So all of my livelihood, my music equipment, my business, my clothes, my possessions, my belongings, all of my pictures, all of my photos, everything that I accumulated at the time was burnt away. So I basically lost all my home, all of my possessions in a fire on the 30th of September 2014. And then I officially became homeless. I was mentally in crisis for my mental health, and I was homeless with no home, no possessions, no food, no drinks, no clothes, no money, no job, no career, no employment. And I was going through severe homelessness and severe mental health difficulties. And that was the life changing point in my life where I had to say something needs to change in my life. I need to get out of this situation. I don't want to be homeless. I don't want to be poor. I don't want to be going through these life experiences, and something needs to change. So, for the last time, I got sectioned in Springfield Hospital due to living on the streets of the West End of Marble Arch with other homeless people there begging for food, sleeping on the floor, and just going through the worst life experiences of my life. And then I got sectioned in hospital for my mental health conditions of schizophrenia, psychosis, and depression, where I met my two heroes, Paul Dorrington, a lead unemployment specialist, and Dr. Karen Mitchell, a clinical psychologist. So Paul Dorrington helped me in my homelessness and my mental health difficulties to basically find a way to get out of that situation. My life was in a very negative place. I was homeless, I was sectioned, I was vulnerable, I was mentally depressed due to losing everything in the fire, which I nearly lost my life that day. And the past trauma and everything I experienced just was overwhelming, very overwhelming, very destructive life that I lived. And then Paul basically started to help me to find a way out of my situation. So Paul got me my first ever opportunity to work within mental health. So, previously to meeting Paul and then also meeting Karen, I wasn't helping other people. I wasn't giving back. I wasn't making a difference, making a contribution. And then Paul basically worked with me in the communities when I got discharged from hospital and started to work with me and support me and help me. And I realized through meeting Paul, and obviously I was having psychological CBT therapy with Karen, Michigan, that I wanted to help other people give back and make a difference. And I wanted to transform my life from homelessness into something of meaning and value. So, through the support of Dr. Karen Michigan and Paul Dorrington, I rebuilt my life into helping other people, giving back and making a difference. So, from 2014 to now 2026, I've been helping other people, giving back for the last 12 to 13 years in the mental health industry. So I've built my career within mental health. Obviously, I've come out of homelessness, which I experienced, and now I'm basically living somewhere back in my property again in my flat in Battersea because the flat got refurbished and rebuilt. And the homelessness is part of my past trauma, part of my memory, but I'm no longer homeless or mentally psychotic. I do take medication. Um, Amisulpride and mirtazapine for my mental health. I do have diabetes, so I've got physical health problems, and I do have dyslexia, a learning disability. But as far as the homelessness side, it's all been changed. So the life lessons that I learned from homelessness is to keep moving forward. And just because you're homeless today doesn't mean you're going to be homeless tomorrow. I learned that when you start at rock bottom, there's no way to go but to go up. You can only move up from that life experience. I learned from homelessness that you are the person and the author of your life. So if you don't want your life to be in a certain way, you have to take actions. You have to plan and also make decisions to better your life, to change your life. Also learned from homelessness that everyone goes through life experiences. It just depends how you respond to it and how you handle your life experiences that makes you who you are. So, with my mental health difficulties and my homelessness, it made me who I am. And I learned that, I can still become who I want to be, even though I've gone through a lot of life experiences, but just to keep moving forward and keep moving into the future. And now that I've overcome homelessness, I'm now author of 45 books. I have 10 specific podcasts that I run that are available online. I've got a career as a Passport coordinator in the NHS. I've got a second job as a bank support worker in Peabody. Um, I'm a spiritual musician who creates spiritual music and spiritual albums. And I'm also an activist and an evangelist, life coach, and motivational speaker. So my life has transformed from homelessness. And just remember in my story and me sharing that homelessness didn't define who I was. It made me who I am because if I don't go through the homelessness, and I also lost my partner in a relationship due to her breaking up with me. And all these life experiences made me who I am. So losing my partner, being single again, being homeless, losing my home and all my possessions, sleeping on the streets of the West End of London in Marble Arch, being sectioned in hospital, going through a transformation of mental health recovery, and then slowly getting back to employment and work has been my life journey. And you can overcome homelessness and you can get out of that situation. So just remember to keep moving forward, Obviously, as I was experiencing the homelessness, I developed my faith, spirituality, faith, and religion. So Jesus Christ, Jehovah, and Buddha became important to me. And I also learned from the homelessness that I don't need to be attached to materialistic things, which is my biggest lesson. It can all be taken away from you, but who you become can't be taken away from you. The person, how you've become, how you live, what you do day to day, and how you help other people. So now my life is different. It's always about helping other people, giving back and making a difference. And I've overcome the homelessness that I've experienced in my life. So I hope this has helped. I know it's a bit of a long story, but homelessness did transform my life and made me who I am. And now I'm more stronger, I'm more faithful, I'm more spiritual, and I'm more truthful. And I believe in Jesus Christ, Jehovah, and Buddha. I have faith, spirituality, faith, and religion. And I've been baptized, and I do a lot of spiritual practices like prayer, meditation, mindfulness, walking, journaling, and silence to obviously help me in my life as well. So thank you for listening. My Life is Like a Story podcast, and take care now. Bye bye.